make sure that we're going to record. Welcome to the webinar where we're going to celebrate the act of composting. The Global Day of Action happens today in more than 31 countries all over the world, where our community members are rolling up their sleeves, getting their hands dirty into the soil, making black gold from waste. We've been working towards today for months. It's incredible people. So thank you to everyone who has collaborated and participated and contributed to today. Here today is really going to be a celebration. We're going to hear from experts. We're going to hear from community members from different parts of the world. Yeah, we just want to have fun today. A little bit of an introduction about QA's impact. While people are still joining us, we have a couple of minutes before we go to the exciting speakers. QA's impact, you've probably heard the name a lot. We are a global charity, but we are registered in the UK and Wales already for more than 10 years. And we are accredited to the United Nations Environment Assembly. I already said that we have a very active global community of young leaders who would like to grow and earn recognition for their positive impact on society. Today, we are active in 31 countries, specifically for the Global Day of Action of Composting, but actually we are represented in way more countries. Here you can see the number is 87, with over 1,700 users, community members on our platform. We collaborate with 9 different university partners on the program Future 17. And I would really recommend you to learn more about Future 17 on our website. And here on the right, you see Illustrious. And Illustrious is from Nigeria, who is doing amazing work in his community. And that resulted in that he won one of our scholarships in 2022, the scholarship, the Social Responsibility Scholarship. And yeah, it's just incredible to see people taking positive action. And that's why we're here, to inspire people to take action, but mostly to recognize there is a lot of good action taking place. And we want to give you a stage and to help you grow, develop, but mostly that you get the recognition that you deserve for all the goodness. We are taking a lot of action for sustainability. It's one of the Sustainable Development Goals, but also we are recognizing that sustainability is not per se the goal that we want to aim for anymore. We want to go a couple steps further, and this is because if we are if we're aiming for a situation that is sustainable, it is actually meaning that we are sustaining the current status, but we want to go much further. We don't want to have a specific goal in front of us. We want to make sure that we are always having a positive impact on the future. And those are just continuous positive loops of improvement. If you're not speaking, please put your mic on mute, please. And this is really about how we can learn from nature in different aspects of our life. It's not just when we're planting trees, we want to mimic nature, but in social and economy as well. It is really looking at the world as a holistic and transformative process that aims to improve and improve and improve. And one of the most tangible parts of regeneration is the soil that we can improve together, which we have to improve because most of our environmental problems are related to our soil, the lack of life that is there, the lack of carbon that is in the soil, and that leads to floods, it leads to massive droughts. And there is a very powerful tool that all of us have the potential and the power to contribute, and that is through composting. And today is the Global Day of Action of Composting, and we are doing so from all over the world, from different corners, and at least from 31 countries, taking place all on the same day. But why should we be composting? I already said a little bit about the carbon, about the water management, and about the biodiversity. And it's one of the most powerful tools actually to fight climate change. here you can see that we can reduce more than 50% of the carbon dioxide. That's equivalent of the greenhouse gas emissions, according to Project Drawdown, a very interesting project that is covering the top 100 solutions to fight climate change. So it is one of the most important and valuable tools that we can do to fight climate change. And we're going to learn much more about this from our speakers. And before we do that, we want to have a little bit of a view into what the Global Day of Action looked like from our community. And that's why we have the honor to have Etape with us. Etape is from Cameroon, and he had an amazing activity today in his school after he already did some building up activities in the past weeks. Etape, are you here with us?
Yes, greetings to you, Carl. I don't know if you can get me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, okay.
Are we able to see you?
Oh,
would that be possible?
Not possible at the moment, but before the session comes to an end, I think I would be able to do that.
Okay, thank you so much. Could you please walk us through a little bit what your Global Day of Action activity looked like today? What did you organize, and what did it mean to the people that were involved?
Okay, before the Global Day of Action, I had actually been doing a activity with schools, because I tend to focus with primary schools or pupils in my community here in Cameroon, Southwest region to be precise. And this particular day, it was fantastic. And we had activities, or one activity, which was the educational talk with pupils. And it had to do all with composting, the different step of composting, identifying the different type of compost items which you could compose, and soil-friendly in a soil-friendly way. So today, basically, we had the discussion, and before today, we had distributed soil-friendly, biodegradable compost plastic bags to other primary schools with pupils, and we taught them how to select food waste, how to manage food waste, how to collect food waste, and tomorrow. It's going to be another interesting day, because we'll be rounding off the day tomorrow, or the Global Day of Action tomorrow, with pupils bringing in their compost, which the bags we distributed was aimed for pupils to go back home, so they identify the food waste, they put in the soil-friendly, biodegradable compost plastic bags. Then they'll be bringing them tomorrow, and we're definitely going to be doing our composting tomorrow. So today was another great day for educational talk and impacting knowledge on the pupils, as well as some teachers of the school. So that's basically what we did today. And tomorrow we will be doing composting itself, identifying the different compost which the pupils will bring, and going down on the field itself, and creating a small compost site. So by next year, we could use the compost to be able to plant, to do vegetable gardening in the schools, and the planting of flowers, and other food crops which they could consume in school, or share with their parents or friends back at home. So basically, that's what we had done, we are doing, and we plan to do tomorrow.
That's amazing, Etape. So for you, it's really not just the Global Day of Action, but it's the Global Week of Action, and you have built different activities to get the deep-rooted impact with the pupils. Could you share a little bit, what was their reaction when you talk about compost, and what they can do with it? What is their interest? What do they see it could do for them?
Okay. The first thing I talked about them concerning composting, they were very interested to learn about it, because they never knew what composting was all about. They never knew how friendly composting could be to them. So it was a very interesting and a very fun topic for them, because they got to see how useful food waste and other kitchen waste could be managed in a very positive way, and they could reuse it in a different way. So it was very interesting, and even some of the teachers who were present found the topic very, very worthy to be discussed with pupils. So they actually learned a lot, and it was a very interactive class. I made some videos, which I think I'll be sharing in the group with permission. And it was a very, very interactive question and answer session. And everybody tried first by defining what composing was all about, and some few lapses, and we had to correct that, adjusted it. And they started identifying the different type of food waste which could be collected from each and everyone's kitchen. And they did a very good job there. And it was so very interesting because you know, it was motivational. It was motivational because at times some of them complained that that used to get this food waste and you know, take them far off to dump them. But now with this educational talk, they some of them have understood that at your little corner in their homes, they could actually create a compost bin there where they could recycle or process or regenerate these food waste into soil manure and use it for their domestic gardening.
Incredible.
So, yeah.
Incredible. It's really the full cycle that you have approached, and I'm amazed with the engagement of the pupils. I'm looking forward to see to the next steps.
Okay.
When you get back the input for the compost, and when you do this activity together with them, and of course when you have actually made compost and that you can grow vegetables together with the pupils. There must be a very rewarding process for them to see how life is growing and evolving, and how they actually have that potential in their own hands. It must be magical to see that, especially from the children's perspective. So do please keep us up to date. We are very curious, and we really applaud you for your work, and thank you for your participation in the Global Day of Action.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Etape. If anyone has questions to Etape, please feel free to put them in the chat. And Etape, if you are still around here, if you would like to respond to those, very welcome. And we will, with pleasure, follow your progress on social media. So if you want to share your social media profiles here, if anyone wants to see the evolvement of your process, they can see it there as well.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Then, without further ado, we would love to continue with the celebration of composting, together with our two expert speakers. We both have Crystal Walker and we have Cecile Sagawala, from different parts of the world. And we will start with Crystal. Crystal is also known as Compost Fairy. She is a compost creator, an educator, a consultant, and an enthusiast. She has almost 5 years of compost experience and education, and loves assisting Mother Nature in creating something so versatile and dynamic. They are a master gardener and master composter through their local county extension office. Crystal loves empowering folks to begin their compost journey and aims to educate everyone on the importance of composting. Welcome, welcome, Crystal. Before we dive into your journey, I would love to also take the honor to introduce our second speaker, that is Cecile Sagawale, who started Green Composting. He is which is a local venture in Tanzania, which is led by a young, motivated team that recycles food waste, garden waste, and other organic waste to compost. And he's doing a lot more than that with big ambitions. And I cannot wait to hear more from you, Cecile. But both Crystal and Cecile, could you briefly introduce yourself to everyone who's listening? We are very interested in your journey. What brought you to composting? Where are you? And why composting?
Hi, I'll get started then. Sorry, my voice is a little loud, so sorry if it sounds weird. But yeah, I am Crystal, also known as Compost Fairy online. I am from the United States. I live in a state called Oklahoma. I don't know if any of you have heard of Oklahoma, but it's like in the middle of the United States. And I've grown up here. I've always been into sustainability. When I was in high school, for example, I started like a recycling club that continued on. And I've always been into like reusing things, reducing waste, and things like that. But it was about maybe in it was about like 5, 6 years ago when I first learned about composting, because I was working at a job where many of the items that we use were compostable. And so when I learned that composting was a way of, turning, things that come from the earth and giving it back to the earth, I was like, wow, this is like next level in terms of sustainability. And so I, whenever I moved into my home, I decided that I was going to start composting. And so I'll be honest, I did not know what I was doing. I I just went on there. I just went on Pinterest, typed in composting, and the first thing that popped up was burying your scraps. And so I was like, okay, perfect. I'm just gonna dig some holes in my yard and bury my stuff. And I did that for like 2 years, and it worked really well. The area where I did that, it was very dilapidated. There was no grass growing there, very bad soil. And as I was burying all my stuff there, grass started going back. The soil started turning really nice and brown, and it really was like a regenerative process. And so in 2020, I had unfortunately lost my job, and so I started what I call rage gardening, and so that's just kind of like gardening when you're very upset. Because I just was going through a lot at the time, and so I was like, well, I have this compost I've been making, so let me start gardening. And so I just kind of started gardening and sharing my journey with folks, and started learning more about both gardening and composting. And since I wasn't working, I kind of dove deep into learning more about the two. And so I took the Master Gardener and the Master Composter um, courses at my county extension office, and I just really wanted to know more about like I just was so like enamored and just in love with the idea of composting, just because it's just we throw away so many things, and then this idea that these things that we can throw away can go back to the earth and grow food and regenerate the soil and things like that, is just next level to me. And so that's kind of what got me on my journey. I don't know if you want me to share more. Are we going to Cecile, or do you want me to keep going? What do you want me to do? I'm sorry, you're muted.
Thank you. So yeah, tell us a little bit. You said you're also known now as Compost Fairy.
Yeah.
What are you doing under that name?
Yeah. So I kind of started my social media back when I was doing my rage gardening a lot. I was on my personal page posting, but I kind of felt like I needed another page to really post about gardening and composting and all of that. And so I started posting on Instagram under the name Compost Fairy, and I at the time was just posting so much and people were asking me a lot of questions. So I was like, well, let me maybe start like a YouTube channel. And so my first YouTube video was about composting. And that's whenever I truly like started researching it and learning more about it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to this than what I thought. And so I just kind of started posting about my composting journey online and sharing my failures and ups and downs and things like that. And it just kind of started to grow traction. And people started like following me and asking me questions and commenting on my things and stuff. And so I was able to kind of build up a decent sized following of folks, and which I thought was great because I thought it's amazing that people are interested in learning about composting, especially because it's it can be such an esoteric topic sometimes, because a lot of people don't even know what it is. But my aim on my page is to try and just break it down and make it simple for folks and show people like, hey, this isn't so, yes, it involves science, but you don't have to be a scientist to do it. You just need to know a little bit about how the world works and how nature works and how things break down. And once you kind of get the gist of it, you can compost too. And so I just try and just encourage people, and I try and show different forms of composting, like vermicomposting, so composting with worms, or bokashi fermentation, which is an anaerobic process that ferments food and you can add it to compost, or just having a bin or having a pile, whatever works for your situation. So I have started a small business under the same name, Compost Fairy. And I just provide education and consulting services to folks. So I've taught with my local library. I did some gardening and compost classes with them, and that was really great to be able to teach the community about that. And then I also do one-on-one consultations with people to kind of get people started with composting. And then I'm going to also start leading classes, virtual and in person, to get folks on the compost train as well. So I'm in the baby stages of my business, so I'm still starting things out. But my overall goal is to just be able to, whether you're a child or an adult, get you an understanding about composting, why it's important, and how you should do it. Because we really do have, our world is really like, it's just so, like, we're in a desperate time right now in terms of like global like climate change and things like that, especially somewhere like the US, where we're one of the biggest like emitters of everything bad, it seems like, sometimes, and like a lot of greenhouse gases and stuff get emitted from here. And so the more people I can get understanding that, like, hey, your trash doesn't have to go to the trash. It can go back to the earth, and we can grow stuff with it, or we can just let it be. We can generate soil with it. That I think is way better than just having landfills just pile up and, lessening the time that our future generations have on this earth. So that's just kind of where I am, and what I'm kind of doing. I have my own small community composting. I have a really small community composting thing where I collect compost from people. So that's something I do, and I hope in the future to have my own site. So yeah, thank you all.
Incredible. Thank you so much for the work that you do. And it's fascinating to hear how you have developed, yourself, your knowledge, and how that's evolved from rage gardening into becoming an expert and a consultant. And I would love to dive deeper into the personal effects of composting and getting your hands dirty in the soil and composting a bit later. But first, I would really like to introduce, go to Cecile. I see that Cecile just joined us again. I don't know, can you hear us, Cecile? Let's see, we're going to move over from the US to Africa, to Zanzibar. Let's see, Cecile, are you with us?
Hello, yes, I'm with you.
Perfect. Right on time. Thank you so much. We just had an amazing story from Crystal, and we would love to hear from you. On your story, where are you coming from? Where are you right now? What did your journey look like related to composting? And what are you doing? And I would like to ask Sid, can you make Cecile a co-host so you can also share some slides?
Sure.
Thanks. Over to you, Cecile.
Thank you very much, everyone. My good name, I don't know if it's a good name, is Cecily Sagawara, and I'm from Tanzania, which is a country in Africa. And basically, I'm the team leader of the company, which is dealing with composting organic matters, either waste or not, to organic fertilizer. The company is named Green Composting. So about me, I'm a youth, 20 years, and I've graduated the Bachelor of Environmental Science and Management in school 3 years back. Where did it come from? It all came from the eager to be useful to the community. When I was at my college, I was studying a course of environment where we studied a lot of stuff. So I was always trying to find myself to be useful to the community I am through my knowledge. And I came up to realize we have a big resource, which is also a problem to our community. To the markets where people are processing food, a lot of waste is thrown away. And also to after eating at the kitchen, where every day we are throwing away the food. And it just came to realize you can use this kitchen scrap and the other stuff from different residencies to make fertilizer, which is also used to the farmers. So this is the origin of all this ambition of making compost. So from the class to the community, that is my story. So it's all about from the professor's knowledge and how to make it useful to our community. And it was not an easy journey, and it took to make myself to learn more than a professor, to understand deeply with different resources, to make it very simple for anyone to my community to understand. So through that, we came up with this company, the Green Composting, and what we do is we have started to do composting with hoteliers because Zanzibar is one of the very attractive island. Every day people are coming, hundreds of people, thousands of people coming daily. And when they come, they visit different hoteliers. So all these hoteliers, they produce a lot of waste and always throwing to the same island. So it is a disaster to us if you don't have someone who can recycle this whole waste which is produced. So that's where we came with this idea. And we have two main services. One is composting organic matter to the hoteliers, and second is composting within the community with use. And within the hoteliers, we started for 2 years now, and now we want to start with community with a project called Community. And with this project of youth in community, we want to empower all youth from our community to make compost and be part of Green Composting as one of the franchise, by owning the franchise of Green Composting to their community. We try to share some of the slides to show you. The slide.
Yes, we can see your screen. Currently, the QS Impact website, a beautiful website.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yes, it is. I would like to present.
And welcome everyone who is still joining the webinar. Feel free if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Please make sure that you are on mute. But if you have any questions, just put them in the chat. And towards the end of the webinar, we have a Q&A session where Cecile and Christel will be able to answer your questions. Go ahead, Cecile.
Well, so you see, from the beginning of the story, whereby I started to speak from the beginning of the story, whereby I started to speak about how we make compost. Why did I join composting and what our company does? And now we came with a project with empowering youth from our community to make compost. How do we empower it? we first to identify the problem, whereby there's a lot of food waste and yard waste, plus cotton boards from the supplies of different goods in our island. Per day, we are producing more than 250 tons from our island, and all this is going to the landfill. So through our program of UC Green Franchise, whereby we're going to train community use and how to manage waste, because it's a raw material for making organic fertilizer. Because if we manage sorting organic waste separately, that is one step ahead to making compost. So it's very important for us to make sure these people, they understand. After that, we are going to give startup kits the use. That include equipment, machines, uniforms of green composting. They're going to own those franchise to make compost, and we're going to give them certification of because we're going to do supervision of the product they produce at the standard we have. And this compost is going to be sold back to the hoteliers and farmers of the island, which are struggling every day to cultivate in the same place and different results. The objective of this program is to make sure we have a good network of organic waste collection, educating the use of waste management, and empower youth through making them earning money from what they're going to make. And to have a lot of environmental preservation benefits and community well-being, and so on of the circular economy thing. We make sure this is going to be back to community at a good price, which is $0.5 per kilogram. And we did a lot of researches with different use. They were so excited. Even farmers, they really want this project so as they can use the compost to sell it to their community. And they're very happy about this. So we are now recruiting youth to join, and we had estimated a lot of climate impact research from this project, whereby we're going to save about more than 13,500,000 kilogram equivalent of carbon dioxide. We have now managed to have sponsors and partners, including USAID, and they have already gave us installment of money to do the project. And you have local partners from our community who are very eager to make sure we are successful with our program. And we're so happy and glad for that. And this Sunday means thank you. This is our contact. Please contact us. So this is one of our projects which we are doing, and it all come from our main objective of making compost from our environment. And we have different mechanisms whereby we work with hoteliers, with salt waste. From this mechanism, we now came into the community. The only thing which is different from others is we are trying to reduce the cost also of picking this waste out of the local hoteliers to the dump site, which is one of the main things which you're doing, collecting the waste together. So this reduces a lot of cost. And a lot of youths are very motivated when they see the same youth, their fellow youths doing the project, and they may be earning money. And the hoteliers, they're happy to reduce more than 75% of the cost for just picking the organic matters out of hotels and away. So this is the series of the product we are trying to provide training, and this is me. We're doing training on how to make sure people are sorting waste. And we do sorting designing, and we make composting, and we also use the compost for landscaping, and also we supply cleaning equipment for sorting. This is all we are doing. So I would like to say much, and we had a lot of hotels working with, and many other partners with us. Yeah, that is all about me and the composting, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cecile. And it's so inspiring to hear your story, and so interesting to hear your story and how it's so different from Crystal, and how you both have found such deep passion into composting and are utilizing it in such a different way to help improving your community with such different stakeholders that you are involving, and clearly providing so much value in different ways. If you could please stop sharing your screen, Cecile. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Then we would love to go to ask you some questions about Crystal and Cecile. You've talked both a lot about the element of community And that's definitely also what QS Impact is all about. It's helping youth. We already talked about youth, helping their local community become more resilient in different aspects: the environment, the economy, and the society. How have you seen that your journey in composting? Do you have some examples on what the impact has been of composting in your community? And that can be both environmental, it can be also, Crystal, similar to what you've said, how you've used rage gardening. 1 second, just mute, please, if you're not talking. So what are some of the benefits that you have experienced in your community that are related to community and to compost? Crystal, if you want to go first.
Yeah, I think community-wise, I've just kind of like noticed how people, they get very like kind of like excited and surprised almost sometimes about the act of composting, because once they start doing it, they're like, okay, I think it's going on, and I think it's going well. And then once they get their finished product, it's like, oh my gosh, wow, like this actually worked. And so I think, the impact is just kind of seeing how people are viewing their waste differently, and how people are coming at it in a way of like, they're no longer thinking that everything is trash, but they're even thinking like, oh, wait, I can compost this, and it doesn't have to go in the trash. And so I think, if anything, it's brought kind of awareness to how everyday things we use don't have to go to the landfill. They can go literally back to the earth and turn into something so decadent, rich, and important to our ecosystem. And so I think kind of, just people seeing the process in real time once they learn about it and start doing it, and then see the finished goal, it just kind of really almost makes the process seem like it's like it makes it just seem super real and authentic, because especially when you're in the midst of composting, you're like, dang, like, is this gonna break down? Like, it still looks like this or whatever. But once it kind of gets going, you're like, oh, okay, something is happening. And then when you get the finished product, you're like, wow. And there's also a sense of pride. I think that's good for people to feel that sense of pride about being able to use their waste to make something so beautiful. And so I think just kind of changing people's perceptions and understanding of what our waste is and what we can do with it has been super impactful and important. Wait, you're muted. You're muted.
Again, sorry. Thank you so much. I can definitely understand that sense of pride. It's you feel so empowered that you have done, or you haven't done it. You have just facilitated it, and put things together, and nature has done its magic, and then you have the end product in your hands, and it's like, wow, I've helped making this, and it's so valuable, that you feel very empowered. Yeah, I can definitely understand how that can help people be uplifted a lot. Cecile, could you share an example in your community? Obviously, you already just shown a couple of values that you have provided to different stakeholders. But how, other than businesses or hotels, do you have an example of perhaps farmers or individuals that are now more aware of composting, or perhaps doing it themselves because of you? What are some of the feedback that you have remembered as an impact?
We, from the hoteliers where we're working with, starting with that, generally the act of composting have been very fruitful to the community where we are working with, and it has been reducing the cost to the hoteliers of handling the organic matters from the hoteliers to the downside, which is a very big feedback we are getting from the hotel managers. And everyone wants us to work with us. And coming to the end users, which are using our compost, the general feedback is they didn't understood it at first. Maybe they understood, but they never knew how to make it. So we have been putting the knowledge there, because there's a lot of waste to handle, because we ourselves alone will never be able to do it. So giving knowledge, as even the use knowledge right now, is something which is we are giving it as a gift to everyone. So impactful is they've been having a good research from the cheapest manual, which is organically made from composting. And they never knew maybe something like organic fertilizer can have better results than or compared to the chemical one. So they just go learn into the chemical fertilizers because they are believing they're going to have results. But through our action, it have changed many perceptions. First of all, from the proper waste management, people they never knew why we have to sort waste, because they just see it's just an activity and why are we doing it? But if they see they have sorted the organic waste, like food waste alone, out of plastics and others, and they see that food waste have been a fertilizer, and they see tomorrow we are using that fertilizer to the same gardens of the hotels. So it's something like, wow. So I have to make sure I sort waste so as we can have more compost. So they get motivated. At the beginning, it's so hard. People, they if you are dealing with new people, they don't believe food can be fertilizer. So you just like until they see a result. So impactful and the fruitful seeds so amazing, and we have so reduced a lot of uh,
Thank you so much, both of you. That's very, very valuable and very informative. And I think for me, it's very inspiring, and I hope for everyone who is here as well, to recognize the value of composting, how deep it goes, much further than just environmental, but how it shakes up our communities and individuals mostly. Now, both of you, I would like to finish with both each one reason why everyone here should start composting. No matter where you are, no matter in where you live in, where in the world you live, what resources you have available, why should everyone here start composting? I will start with Crystal again.
Yeah, so I think composting is a very grounding experience. And, grounding is like the act of, touching the earth. And, literally like getting your hands or feet onto the ground or onto the earth. And so I think of it that way, but I also think about how it can ground you in terms of like just the way you think about things, perceive the world. Um, and I think it also helps like with mental health things too. And I say that because, I talked about my rage gardening, but there have been years where maybe I didn't garden, and a lot of that was because my mental health was not doing so well. But one thing that I did stick to doing was composting. And I think that the way that, you can kind of grow alongside your compost, you're putting your stuff in there. It looks one way, just like your life, it can look one way at a time. But then as it goes on, you then get something really beautiful. And then that's kind of how I feel like with, grounding yourself and with like mental health and just being able to go from one bad situation, not one like situation that doesn't look so good, and getting to a point of like, wait, this actually turned into something great, or I feel better. I think it can just like you just kind of grow alongside it and move alongside it, and like just like it changes, you can change too, for whatever way looks best. And so I think that, in terms of getting ourselves connected to nature, in terms of getting our minds right and thinking about, how can I, do something that can that can improve my mental health, I think, composting can definitely do that. And so when we're connected to nature in that way, it really does change us, because we can understand the world a little different. We connect to the outside world differently, and that improves our overall well-being, or overall mental clarity, and it just kind of gets us back to where, where we should be. Because in my mind, we all should just be in the jungle or in the gardens composting, no bills, no houses, just do what we gotta do. Like what is this working and paying bills and stuff? I don't know. We should all be composting and gardening and having the best times of our lives. And so I think that we can get that with composting. So I think once people start doing it, they'll start to see how different parts of their lives will improve along with just getting that nice, great compost at the end. So
yes, thank you so much. That's a beautiful reasons, the grounding and how it helps you grow alongside of your compost pile. And I think we're at different multiple moments in our life, we're struggling with mental health. And I think the act of gardening, the act of composting is easily overseen. We much rather look at different specialists. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that, but I think we're just not valuing or recognizing the grounding experience, and how having your hands in the soil and mostly seeing life develop and life grow with our own hands, how fulfilling and yeah, empowering that is for ourselves, where we grow, where we can see a very ugly, stinky compost pile seeing transformed into something beautiful that smells delicious, like the forest where you want to be. And even more so, it's very valuable, it's very nutritious. You can grow food from it that you can never buy in the supermarket. And so, yeah, I think it also teaches us life lessons about the simplicity of life, where we are so, yeah, everything is so complex, fast rhythm, where the compost takes a while. But anyway, it's not about what I'm thinking about compost and all the life lessons. I would love to hear more from Cecile. Cecile, what is your reason why everyone should compost, no matter where you are and what your living conditions are?
All right. For me is I can just be straight. Make money. Compost, make money. So if you don't want to sell, it's fine. But let's see, if they use this is opportunity for you. You have energy, you have knowledge is there out. People are there to teach you. Everyone will be here to support you. Go to the internet, go to the check. People can give you a lot of resources to understand how to compost. So for me, why you should compost is just because it is a resource and it is an opportunity for you. You as a use, take it as an opportunity. And why everybody should compost from home is like you coming back, it's a resource. If you're wasting resources, it's a loss. So you have a garden at home, you have a small farm at home, and you want them to grow better, and you are throwing away the fertilizer just as waste. Why should you do that? So for me, it's just try to have a simple system from our household to the big residence. Even when now we are trying to construct our houses, should put composting segments to our map to the map of the houses. We are really forgetting that. We even don't put place where we can put dustbin salt. So it's something which should be attached together to in our daily life, because we are just losing resources for me. So let's compost. Let's make sure we use our food waste, our organic waste. Don't burn garden waste. Try to use them as resources to make compost. Only if we are successful to, let's say, everybody's understanding how to compost. Every single person knows why we should compost. What is the benefit? Then we could have a very greener world. Trust me, this can be one of the big milestone towards changing or mitigating climate change. Because I believe everywhere food waste, organic waste is more than half of the waste we are producing daily. It's the main waste. So if we just say we do composting, we have just solved the problem by half. let's just say we are doing composting. By half, we already win the war. And we are going to avoid people to burn, to produce greenhouse gases. We're going to avoid people to just leave food to release the gases which are going to give increased climate impact to our society. So by doing that, we're going to solve a lot of problems. And it starts with knowledge. That's why people, they don't understand this. It's so hard. Even if at school, they might know it, they might study, they get 100% marks, but the using of it to our legal life has been a very big challenge. And it's as how even my fellow speaker, Christo said, like people, they like get surprised, wow, it's compost now. But on the process, it's so hard to believe. So that bridge from making people inspired by seeing the results, is where we have to focus together. And now, even if no one can say this is the official call, I'm here to call everybody here who listen my voice anywhere you are. Please, please make sure you start composting today. From the evening food you're going to leave. Just you can use a different method. We are experts, but there's a lot of information to our online. You can use it. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cecile. And those informations, those resources we are offering for free on the Global Day of Action on our website. Perhaps someone can put this in the chat. If you want to start composting today and you still have no idea whatsoever, you can start tonight as well. So for Cecile, the main reason it is resources that I think in the last hundreds of years, especially in the industrial revolution, we have been extracting from this planet all the resources. And now it's time for us to give back and to create an abundance of resources. And the easiest and the cheapest resource that we can create is compost. And this is something that is going to help us tomorrow when we're going to plant our vegetables, and it's going to help our future generations where the soil is more healthy, more thriving with more bacteria and fungi in there. And that will be able to be more resilient to more extreme weather conditions, with more greenhouse gases being stored in there, and with more micro life and bio animals. Thank you so much. We're going to briefly go back to our slides, and at the end we can go back to a Q&A. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments, put them in the chat, and then we will go back to that at the end. The Global Day of Action is part of the awards. The awards will take place on January 18, 2024. We are active in over 31 countries today with different participants. And the participant who will have the most significant composting capacity will win the GDA Legend Award in January. We have a range of prizes for this legend, so please do check out our awards page on the website. But to be eligible, we ask you to document your activities, take pictures, take videos of what you do, upload it in an impact report on our platform before December 22. So you have a little bit more than 1 week to do so. And if you have questions on how to do that, check out a post that we've done on social media. We have even a blog explaining, I believe, on how to upload an impact report. It's very easy. If you have any questions, just let us know. But make sure that you upload it by December 22 to be eligible. And then the committee will judge who will be the nominees and the winner. And you can get your tickets to the awards. Well, Ashna will talk more about the awards soon. But here are some of the prizes that you can win as the GDA Legend. You will earn a QS Impact badge, a title, and a social media kit. You will win UNEP offers opportunities to bring representation opportunities to all the winners. You will be featured in the QS Insight magazine. And last but not least, you will actually win a composting bin from Daily Dump, who was on our previous DDA webinar, which is an incredible organization, such as everyone here that is involved in composting. You can see the intrinsic motivation to do this to improve resources such as money, but mostly to help our community and our environment, and also our mental being and state of health. So start composting tonight. Organize events. You can still do it all week long, as long as you have your impact report uploaded by December 22. And then I would love to hear more about the awards that are taking place in January next year. Ashna, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Hi,
Hello.
everyone. Hi, I want to thank Cecile and Crystal for a really informative session. I think you've inspired us to go and start rage gardening and composting immediately. So thank you for that, and thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us, community members over here. We want to ensure that everyone is rewarded for the work that they're doing. And we have our flagship event, the QS Impact Awards, coming up on 18 January. So just about a month from now, we're celebrating the regenerative impact of youth globally who are helping solve the sustainability problem. So how can you win a QS Impact Award? As you know, we've said you need to upload an impact report. We're talking about regeneration. As you have seen Carlo explaining what regeneration is earlier in the meeting, it is our take on what sustainability should mean. It's a holistic and transformative process that aims to improve previous conditions. So as you see, all the award winners will be receiving the same except the composting bin. So all the award winners will get the QS Impact badge, title, social media kit to boast a little bit about their achievements and their victory, and showing the measurable impact that they've made in their community. We also will be offering you an EP opportunities where the award winners can go represent themselves either to the virtual event or the in-person event for these events. And we'll also have a feature for each of our award winners in the QS Insights magazine. So which will be like a feature on your story, on your impact, your project, and how you're transforming your local community into a regenerative place. So we can get into the award categories. We have 8 award categories this year. We have the Eco Champion, Campus Sustainability Pioneer, Community Transformation Champion, Sustainability Educator, Sustainability Photographer, Regeneration Advocate, Climate Response Champion, and the Global Day of Action Legend, obviously. So as you can see, all of these categories are explained in detail on our website, on our blogs. The Eco Champion is for anyone who may have heard of our Trees for Merit challenge earlier in the last year, who's uploaded anything regarding restoring, protecting ecosystems, picking up of plastic, cleaning up local communities, rainwater harvesting. All of these come under the Eco Champion category. We have the Campus Sustainability Pioneers. So if you're a student at a university and you are leading some sustainability initiatives, you can apply for this category. We also have the Community Transformation Champion. So if you don't belong anywhere, but you're still working on educating kids, you are having health drives, etc., you are transforming your community, so you can apply for this award category. I think sustainability educator and photographer are quite straightforward. If you're a teacher or someone who's volunteering to impart knowledge on sustainability, or if you're someone who's using the camera lens to make an impact, you can upload these pictures. They could be pictures of local wildlife, it could be pictures of trees, it could be pictures of your local community, being clean, have like a beach cleanup or something. So it can be all of these things that talk about sustainability through the picture. We also have the regeneration advocates. So these are for people who are hosting marches, petitions, talking about regeneration, really spearheading the movement. So you can apply for that. And there is a Climate Response Champion Award as well, which is for anyone who has helped people during times of climate emergencies. So you have provided either aid or you've donated clothes during the floods, or if there's been wildfires, if you've helped in some way. So any climate related emergency, if you've helped in aid and relief work, you can apply for this category over here. And as Carlo mentioned earlier, the Global Day of Action Legend is for the most impactful composting activity. All you need to do to be eligible is be between the age of 18 to 35, be registered on our platform, and upload an impact report in the category that you want to have a shot at winning an award. And if you're someone who's already uploaded impact reports before, you're already eligible. So you don't need to go in and re-upload an impact report. You can just sit and wait to hear back. But obviously, if you've not, please go and make sure you upload your impact report in any of these categories to be eligible to be the winner for the next QS Impact Awards happening on 18 January. Do we have any questions?
And when is the deadline for the impact reports?
The impact reports are due on 15th December, which is tomorrow. But if you stay tuned to our socials, you'll know that we are providing a little bit of an extension. So you'll know about the extension tomorrow. Check out our Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook to know till when we are extending the impact report uploading. So yeah. Do we have any questions about the awards?
Okay, and if so, put them in the chat. Thank you so much, Asna. We can go through them in the chat if you have any questions. Always also able to contact us via email. And then before we end, I would like to still have a little Q&A. I saw one question coming in our chat. I'm curious if we had questions coming in through our Facebook streaming. There was a question on the odor. Someone asked us, let's see if I can get it back. Koray asked how odor can be controlled during composting. Is there any way that I can deal with that? Is Crystal or Cecile, do you have any answer to that?
Yeah, I definitely think that, so odor, that is always something that people think about, like are concerned about, because of course you don't want your backyard to be smelling nasty or wherever you're putting your compost. And so if you're doing like traditional composting or vermicompost, okay, then can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. If you're doing traditional composting, really, it's very important that you have a lot of material that is rich in carbon. And so that's going to be our browns. So things like leaves or cardboard or shredded newspaper, shredded paper, sawdust, you know, really cut up branches, things like that. And when you incorporate that with the food scraps, and then of course you want to put some brown material on top of that too, you then don't really smell the food. You don't smell the food at all. It just smells like the earth. And then aerating your compost is important too. That can also help with odor control. And when you aerate it, that's just kind of mixing everything together or turning the pile. But then also make sure that you're incorporating those browns, the carbon material, and covering up any food scraps with the browns. It'll eliminate the odor. It won't look, and then it won't even look like there's like any food there. I've had piles where I put a ton of food in the pile, but I had so much brown material and stuff covering the food that no animals or anything messed with it. So making sure you have a sufficient amount of carbon and you're incorporating that into your bin alongside with aerating your compost is going to help with odor control for sure.
Thank you so much. So it's making sure you put in the right mix of ingredients and aerating it. Is there something you would like to add to that, Cecile?
Definitely everything is very correct. And just to add, depends on which method you're using, like traditional one or others. So there's a several methods which we can use to make compost. If you're doing wind blow or just a pile on the land, it's of course the smell is very sensitive especially when you turn your pile, it may bring smells. But for how the principle is, it's like if your pile doesn't make, or if your pile makes smell, it means you have not made your ratio well, because there is a ratio of putting your brown material and your green materials when you make a pile. So, and also make sure you avoid the use, or when you use this protein food like meat, eggs which have not boiled or cooked well, prawns, if you use fishes, skins, those stuff, they're very attractive to, they're very smelly when they decompose. So if you're using an open pile, you have to put them inside. Make sure you don't make any pass of flies or anyone to go grab them, because either snakes or other stuff can go and dig down your pile and take those. And also they're very hardy to decompose. So you can either avoid those protein foods, or when you use them, make sure you put them inside your pile and cover, you see, brown materials on top. And also you can use, there's a bacteria which are cultivated in laboratory. They're called EM1. I can show you the link now, right now, here. So these bacteria, you can make, you just supply them to, I think, yes, have everybody got the link?
Yes,
Yeah,
I can see it. Yes.
yeah,
Thank you.
so these bacteria are captured in laboratory. They avoid smell, not only for composting, they can avoid smell to your septic tanks and minutes, because it's a lot of yeast and bacteria planted together. It's very cheap. You see, you can also make it culturally. You can make a compost tea from the ready compost, and you eject your pile to make sure you increase bacteria and reduce smell very fast. So we see EM1, you can do smart composting, and it can reduce the smell 100%. Yeah. And you make sure you put your ratio well, which is in your pile, avoid the use of protein food, and make sure you can use these bacteria to avoid smell. So those are the mechanisms you have to use when we are trying to avoid smell. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, both of you. That's very valuable to me, and I'm sure to everyone here and who is listening or to watching back the webinar on YouTube. Is there anything that you would still like to add that you have not been able to share, something important or a lesson or to something related to compost to inspire other people? You've already been very generous with your knowledge and with your experience so far, but perhaps there is something that you would still like to share, Crystal or Cecile.
Well, I could say a lot, but mostly I will try to emphasize what is up on our table right now. We are doing a project of using composting, and with our project, we want to make sure every use become part of making compost. From our island, from our nation, to Africa, to the whole world. So everyone here, I want to make sure they make compost. So we are coming to you. Maybe in next 5 years, 10 years, we will come to you. So that's the thing which I really want to emphasize. Like, we want every single person to make sure he knows what is compost. That's the best milestone. And second, to know how to make compost and to use the knowledge, not just to know how to make, to use the knowledge, and not just to use the knowledge, to earn money from that. Everyone, imagine everybody knows about compost, everybody knows how to make compost, and we are trying to build a circular economy channel of composting to our community. So I'd like to emphasize that and pray for us. Oh, join us. And everyone should, welcome. Your perception and everything was in your perception and everything. You are all welcome. I will share you the group We have a WhatsApp group. I'll share you the link. You can join to our group. You can see how we're trying to emphasize. You can put your comments, and you're welcome to share anything from the distance. The world now is just like a village. And the second thing which I would like to say is, please try to join forces of composting from your community. Not just focus much yourself, but whatever you are, try to be an ambassador. That's why you're here, to listen this all this time. Whenever you meet or wherever they use your work, try to be the ambassador. Yeah, thank you very much. I think that's all I could say, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cecile.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, like, even if you feel a little bit uneasy about it, just start. Like, whether that's collecting food scraps and keeping it in your freezer, or waiting until you can build a bin, gathering your brown materials so that you have that. Just get on the train, because as one person, like if I was the only person composting, that really wouldn't do much. But when we do it collectively, then that's when the change and impact can happen. And so the more that we can get people to start doing it, the more of an impact we can make. And so just like Cecile was saying, being an ambassador in your neighborhood, or being, that one person in your friend group or your family that knows about composting, that can get other people on board, do that, because that's how we can kind of reverse some of these, ecological problems that we're facing. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to say.
Thank you so much. It's very inspiring. And together we can drive the change. We have the power. Be an ambassador, be a composter, be a compost hero. And I hope that this session has been inspiring everyone here to take more action than just a global day of action. But for me, it has been a very interesting and very inspiring celebration of composting. So I want to thank our speakers. Thank you so much, both Cecile and Crystal, for taking the time to be here with us and sharing your time generously. Thank you for everyone who has participated in the Global Day of Action and who has made it a reality, to our partners, both Daily Dump and other partners that have helped us to be here today to host and to facilitate such a significant day of action. Now, what's next? You've heard about the awards. Get your free tickets. Ashna put the link in the chat already. We will follow up with an email to you, where you will also see the link where you can sign up. Make sure that you upload your impact report before the end of the day of 22nd of December. So you still have a couple of days. If today has inspired you to take some action in the coming days, do so. Do not limit your action to just December 14th today, but start composting today. Start educating in your community tomorrow, and let us know how that went through an impact report. And perhaps you do it again the day after, because you got so empowered and so energized by doing so. Follow us on our social media and sign up for our newsletter for similar actions like this. And we are very excited to hear from you and to see you again at our next webinar or at the awards. And if not, we want to wish you a festive season, a very warm, safe, and prosperous end of year season from wherever you are. But make sure, stay composting. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank
and thank you for leading this, Carlo.
Thank you, Cecile and Crystal. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.